All right. Uh, so what episode is this?
15.
You sure?
Pretty sure it's 15. Because
Or
12, 13, and then 14 was last week, right? Yeah. So
okay,
this is 15.
15, episode 15 of the Bar Banter. Um, obviously, first of all, like one of the things that we got to do is we already had the solo post. He couldn't wait. Had to get it out there. Um,
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, I made a
so
post on TikTok for those of you guys who don't know. If you're well, you should be already following us on the TikTok. If you're not, I mean, I don't know what in the world is wrong with you, but I posted a solo on TikTok.
I mean, hey, congratulations. It feels good. It feels good for you to get that win, break that streak, and continue this run that Ohio State's on. I mean, I we talk briefly about the game. I mean, I don't think there's much more to say about it. I
No.
think one, Jeremiah Smith, that was absolutely a touchdown. If you're
Yeah.
gonna
I
sit
mean,
there and
people
say that it
just
wasn't, then you're looking at it through corn and blue eyes,
Mhm.
and you don't know the rules. So, look, he caught the ball. He was running with the ball, so now he stops being a receiver and now he's a runner. The rules are completely different for a runner breaking the plane than it is for a receiver. Now, yes, he did lose control of the ball. All you have to do as a runner is gain control for a split second across the plane of the goal line. It doesn't matter where your foot comes down because a runner can jump like
Mhm.
Superman and extend the ball across the goal line and land his entire body out of bounds, and it's still a touchdown.
Yep.
So that's the difference between being a runner and a receiver. So the foot, everybody talking about the foot, that doesn't matter at all. There was a moment when he had it pinned in his arm as he was in had broken the plane. That's a touchdown. It
That's a
just is.
touchdown.
It's the rule.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I mean,
people
we can't they reviewed it. I mean, I wish that Fox would do what somebody else, I forget what the channel is that does it, but they go into the booth where they're doing the review, and you hear them talking to the official. And
yeah.
so the replay officials are telling them what they're looking at and why they're making the call one way or the other. I wish Fox would do that, and I wish they would have done it there because then they would have, explained. I mean, it's a touchdown. It just it was.
I wish that Fox I thought Fox was the ones who started doing that from the jump with the UFL, but I guess not. Maybe I don't know, but yeah, well, that's you explained it right. Like a lot of people don't understand the difference between when you're receiving the ball in that situation versus when you've already have made a catch and had been running for 10 yards, which is what he did. I mean, it's the same thing as when the quarterback tries to, they're on the 1 yard line and instead of doing a QB sneak, he just reaches his arms above
Yeah,
and then he gets the ball smacked out of his hand every single time. But because
doesn't
he
matter
already crossed the plane, it doesn't matter. And it's
as
just like if
soon
a
as it
running back
touches
is
the front.
bobbling the ball on his way across the goal line, as long as he grabs it real back, it doesn't matter. It's not like, the Kelvin Johnson situation. It's a completely different thing. But once again, it's only Michigan fan that are saying it wasn't a touchdown, which, okay,
There
you
just
know what,
has to
Michigan fan?
be.
You know what? If Michigan fan, if you want to take that touchdown away, go for it. We still beat you 20-9 then. Does that make you feel better? Does it make you feel better that you lost 20-9 instead of 27-9? I mean, I don't know what else you guys want. You guys want him to reverse every other point we had too, just because you guys aren't allowed to lose games ever in the history of football? Is that what it is? Like, oh my God. And then your guard and your M at the end of the game. Like, no, Michigan, we have class, right? So like you notice how what you guys did last year was an isolated incident, right? We were never going to do something like that. We did it immediately. We ran straight to the Ohio State people in the crowd, celebrated with our fans, celebrated with our team. And Ryan Day, I saw somebody had a flag in their hand that was walking towards the end, but
Do you know
you
what
had
that
no
flag
pull on
was?
it. Yeah, it was Ohio against the world. Or well, there was
Ohio
also an
against the
American flag.
world. and they were just standing there with it. They had gotten it, and then one other player had an American flag.
Yeah. And
You
Ryan Day
know,
said,
but
no, like go back.
yeah,
And they said, okay, we'll go back. And
yeah,
Michigan fans sitting there guarding their M and they're like, oh, and then they go into the press conference. They're like, yeah, we're not going to let that slide. Nothing. There was nothing to let slide.
yeah,
Nothing was going to happen because we actually have class and we don't need to go out there and act like absolute assholes. Because you
yeah.
know why? Because we've been there before. We don't react that way because that wasn't anything new to us. I know it was new to you guys, but that
There's a
wasn't new to
difference.
us.
There's a difference between expecting to win and wanting to win. And when you want to win, then you go and you do win, then you go and plant a flag. When you expect to win and you do win, then you go celebrate with your team or the fans and thing like that. But yeah, so that puts that to rest. And then the playoff rankings came out. We jumped on the live. Um, Not much changed,
No, not
but
much
but
change, and I don't think much will unless some crazy things happen this
well,
weekend.
that's kind of like the thing. Like it could be not much changes after, next week, or a whole heck of a lot changes after
Yeah,
next week. The one big thing that we have right now is we have Notre Dame and Miami that everybody wants to talk about, and everybody who hates Notre Dame is sitting there saying, "Well, why are we playing?" I Joel Klatt, well, don't ever schedule them. Then, look, there's a difference between game one and there's a difference between the end of the season. Like Alabama lost to Florida State in game one.
yeah,
So are you trying to tell me that Florida State is better than Alabama? No, the body of work over the course of the season proves that. No, Notre Dame lost two games by a total of 4 points to Miami and A&M, and then boat raced everybody the rest of the way through, whereas Miami stumbled, 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 stumbled. So look, body of work, how are you playing at the end of the season, all that kind of stuff, whatever. That could be a moot point anyway, because neither one of them might make it if chaos ensues next
yeah,
week.
yeah.
Because
And then, well, then what you do is you give them a rematch in a bowl game. That's what you do. You give
right.
them a rematch in whatever bowl game, whether it be like the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl or something, some of those bowls. But
And
yeah, and then
I guarantee you if they do that Notre Dame opens at least a touchdown favorite.
probably, and that's the other part of it too. You reschedule that game right now. You're not. Nobody's. They act like it's okay. The first game of the season that the head to head that's end all be all forever. Until next
It's
season that
yeah.
you're light years ahead of a team. Like, I mean, and of course, and here's where me and you kind of disagree on this because Texas can't. Texas is out there being like, well, we scheduled Ohio State week one, and we went in there and da da da. Okay, the difference is you guys lost multiple games after that game. Had you guys have won out after that game, then it'd be a little bit of a different conversation. I think the A&M win helped them out a lot towards the grand scheme of things, but they looked awful against Georgia. You took a stinker against Florida. And all the other games that you won, you didn't look great in. Arch did not look good, right? So I think that's where the difference is. Like in Notre Dame's case, they won out after those two first games because A&M ended up, so they won out after that. Whereas Texas ended up losing two more down the stretch. So that's where I think it's a little bit different. Do I think Texas should be in over Miami? Yes. Over a Tulane or a JMU? Yes. Especially over a Duke if they pull out some miracle here in the dumb ACC championship. Sure. But I think like in that aspect of things, like it's a little bit different in Texas's case because, like I said, they almost stumbled a little bit throughout the course of the season too. But that game against A&M, they looked a lot better. So I do want to see that version of Texas in the playoff.
Right. And I think that look, the Florida loss was a bad loss. So that I mean that's the season right there. Like, right, you don't lose that game and you're in the playoff,
Hmm.
right? Because you're
You're
above
actually,
Notre Dame and you're above Miami as a two-loss team and you're
I
in.
think they would be in the SEC championship, wouldn't they? If they don't lose that game?
I I
Because
don't
then they
know.
only would have had one SEC loss, and that would have been Georgia.
Yeah, so I don't know what the tiebreakers would have been as
Been
far
with them
as
and Bama.
against Bama and Ole Miss and the other teams that
Or
were
it would
were
maybe it would have been
sniffing
well,
around.
no, yeah, that it would have came down to tiebreakers. Yeah, that's
So
right.
I don't
But
so
their
I don't
chances
know.
would have been a lot better. But
But my whole thing on this was, and the reason why we were having the conversation where
hmm
is I think that if you now, I'm not saying that let's put a 3-loss Texas team in the playoff. Obviously we all know that they should be there over Duke. They should
Right.
be there over Virginia. They should be there over Tulane. But there's a handful of other teams that should be also. But I will say, I don't think that you should penalize a team for scheduling the Ohio State game and losing by a score because here's Texas's point then, right? Like we know that the SEC conference slate is tough. Like
Right.
Florida was a bad loss, but listen, nobody in the country wants to go play Florida in the swamp. You just don't want to do it, whether they're a 3-win team or if they're unbeaten or whatever. But so what I'm saying is they scheduled the Ohio State game and they took that on and they lost by a touchdown. If they would have scheduled Alcorn State instead of Ohio State and won by 50, does that make them a better team? No.
No.
A 50-point win over, South Alabama or somebody like that, to me, a 1-point loss on the road to the number one team in the country is more impressive than a 50-point win at home against, South
Yeah.
Alabama or Alcorn State or, Kent State or whoever, right? So I do think that, when you look at it and say, yeah, it's 3 losses, but they played 5 top 10 teams in the country. Their schedule out of 12 games, 5 of those games were against top 10 teams in the country, and they won 3 of them. So I don't know. It's a tough one. It's hard. It's hard to make. I mean, it's hard to make the argument to put them in. But I do think that that's something that we've got to look at because right now what's happening is everybody sitting there saying we're not going to schedule these games because we have to have 1 or 2 losses. And we're almost better off not playing in a conference championship. I mean, that Alabama could lose themselves out of the playoffs. If they weren't
They
playing
could.
in that game, they're in.
Right.
Now, if they lose to Georgia, they're probably out.
Right.
So making your conference championship could keep you out of the playoff. And I don't
Good.
think that should be a thing either.
Right. Yeah, I think win or lose, getting into your conference championship. But again, I mean, then it comes down to little tiny tiebreakers, right? Like you're like, yeah, you make a good point. Like A&M and Ole Miss are locked.
Right.
Imagine if they had to go play Georgia.
Oregon.
Yeah, like or if Oregon had to cut, they would have had 2 losses playing Ohio
And then
State.
now we're having a conversation. Well, what do we do with Oregon?
Right. And like you so yeah, like A&M and Ole Miss, they're locked, they're sitting pretty, they're in. And they're probably both going to end up with home games in the first round, too.
Oregon
So
too.
versus going and because if Ole Miss gets a maybe a rematch at Georgia, who knows how that would have ended up. But I mean A&M coming off of a loss to Texas and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah, you're right. I guess going into your conference championship like that could end up costing you in some cases, and we probably might see that this weekend if Georgia bests Alabama, because that's a matchup we see a lot recently, and they go back and forth a lot. So I can definitely see Georgia winning that game. And I think Georgia has played a lot better down the stretch than Alabama has. And then also, I mean, but like you talk about the Big Ten, look at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's from the outside looking in right now, but I
No,
mean,
they're good. They're solid. I think it's
a
Oregon.
two-loss
I think
team.
it's A&M. It's Ole Miss and Oklahoma are sitting there with home games.
Yeah. And then you got Bama and Notre Dame at 9 and 10. And those right now are gonna probably change because here's the thing. Well, Bama loses, that obviously that ought to jump Notre Dame up, right? Or is that where the conversation of Miami and all these other kind of things come into play? Because
Yeah,
here's the thing, and this is where you're right. This might be the first time not playing in a conference is going to end up screwing Notre Dame.
right. Well,
Because
because
if they were
there's
in
the
the
Miami.
ACC right now, They'd
there's
be
the
in the
Miami
ACC championship.
conversation, but then there's also another situation too that could screw Notre Dame, and that is the Texas Tech BYU
Yeah, BYU wins.
conference championship. If BYU beats Texas Tech, Texas Tech is staying in, and BYU then jumps in, and then that pushes Notre Dame out.
Yeah.
So there's times when, playing in the conference champion could screw you, like Alabama, or not having one could screw you, like Notre Dame.
hmm It's a very interesting thing it's coming down to now in this new era of college football. Um, Obviously we didn't have to worry about it this year, but let's say it could have been the same situation here with A&M and let's say Texas had a better record going into that game, right? Let's say, Georgia and Bama took a stinker on the year or whatever, like, and we talk about Michigan and Ohio State, like it could be a situation like where you play your last game of the year, your rivalry game. You both go into that game undefeated. One team loses, well, guess what? Now you're playing the very next weekend in the conference championship again because there's no divisions anymore. And then let's just see, something crazy happens. Say one team loses that game twice in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now they're on the road facing you, maybe at home or something in the playoff. You could play a team three times back to back to back.
You could play a
Like,
team 3 times in 4 weeks
yeah,
potentially.
we're yet to see that, and it's not going to happen this year either. But like, I'd be willing to bet down the stretch here that maybe the first team that it could end up happening to, it'll probably be just based on conference. I would say Michigan, Ohio State, just because the rest of the Big Ten is so bad. And, I
Right.
don't know how much longer Indiana and Oregon's going to be, in talks like this. Who
I mean,
knows
they'll
if Penn State,
always be hanging around, but they're
yeah.
not, you know.
And then is Penn State going to ever come back? I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Penn State? That's the other part of it.
Well, we also have to have a conversation too about one of the big hires that happened.
Yes.
We could shift into the
Yeah, let's do
coaching
that. Yeah.
carousel that happened now. Obviously number one, everybody's talking about Lane Kiffin.
hmm
Um, Florida hired their guy. I think it was Kentucky, the Ole Miss, just
Kentucky's looking at taking Brian Hartline from us. They're having a meeting this week.
yeah. Well, I think that probably one of the best fits of coaching that happened. I think Michigan State's hire of Pat Fitzgerald was awesome. You get a guy who fits the Midwest, right? Like you get a guy who like Jonathan Smith did not fit the Midwest,
No.
right? He did not. So you get a guy who can recruit, and he can recruit without academic restrictions, and he's got financial backing of a top 25 financial institution in Michigan State, and he's got the NIL money, and he's got all this. Like he's going into a situation where he had a winning record. Like obviously the last few years they were not good at Northwestern, but I mean it's Northwestern, right? But
Right.
he had a winning record at Northwestern. He had him in the Big Ten championship game twice. And so now you do that with one arm tied behind your back, right?
Right.
Because all the academic standards, no resources, no facilities, none of that stuff, right? And so now you go to a school that is the boosters are, I mean, look at how everything was under D'Antonio. So
Yeah.
you're going to have that same type of support. Now you've got NIL money too on top of it. And you got a guy who already has been able to recruit in the Midwest. He played at Northwestern. He's a Midwest guy. So I think that's a huge hire for Michigan State, and I'm glad that they did it and pulled the trigger quickly. They were working that deal. Everybody's like, well, why is
Midway through the
Jonathan
season.
Smith not fired yet? Why is he not fired yet? Well, that's why they were working the deal before and wanting him to finish the year out and stuff like that, and then they got it done
Yeah.
quickly and stuff. So I
Then
think that's a
you
huge hire.
Yeah, that'll be good for Sparty. James Franklin goes to Virginia Tech. I know it's kind of a little bit of old news, but obviously Virginia Tech had to finish out this season and whatever. So, now he can start to get involved. I mean, that'll be interesting, to see what happens there. ACC is, I mean, it's a conference here that could use it. So, I mean, we'll see what ends
Oh,
up
he's
happening.
Yeah, he's
He'll
in a
probably end
great
up running
spot
the
there.
yeah, he'll probably end up running the ACC. Now, is he going to win a national championship with him? Absolutely not. But at least they'll win the ACC probably every year if Clemson keeps playing like garbage. At what point do you get rid of Dabo Sweeney, right? I mean, how many years now you don't have Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson anymore, and it shows. So,
He
I mean, what
refuses to play in the transfer portal.
yeah, and that's the other thing that's gonna, end up biting them too. And then you see, but you still got some question marks here. What's Penn State gonna do? Are they gonna keep their interim? I know the players want the interim to stay, but I mean, he didn't. He almost lost out. Like, so what does Penn State do? Is Michigan gonna keep Sharon Moore? I mean, who knows? That was kind of just one of those things where it's like you were already here and Harbaugh's gone and da da da, and he had
Yeah,
the
like
win over Ohio State
let
when they were cheating, so they thought he was good and all this other kind
and
of
let's
stuff. So
and
it's like,
let's reward you for kind of sticking through this thing and
right.
all that kind of stuff. Like that's so I don't know. Like I mean,
Well, and also too, after this season, does Signetti get a better offer?
well, Signetti just signed that extension. That would be
Oh,
a
did he?
real shit move if
Well,
he then took off to Penn State after doing that. I don't know what the buyout would be. I don't know what the
yeah.
all that other kind of
What
stuff like that. But
what happens with Ole Miss now? Oh, they said they're going to keep their defensive coordinator.
yeah, they already made him the hire. They didn't just name him interim. They made
Interim, they
him the
said, yeah.
hire. So so yeah, I mean,
So now but
what
you
do you,
still got a couple opening spots there. You still got Penn State that's still kind of a little confused what they're going to do. I think that's going to be the other interesting one that comes out of it is
yeah,
if
I think Penn State's real interesting too because like when you start thinking about like again, I think Penn State, like I think you need the Midwest type guy, like something like that. I think of John Gruden. I think going after him. I know he said that he would have loved the LSU job, but I think John Gruden would be a great fit for a Penn State, an Ohio guy. So he's a Midwest and and all that kind of
somebody
stuff.
that I thought would have been really cool for Michigan State, but obviously that didn't happen. But I don't know what his contract's looking like there at Minnesota or anything. But PJ Fleck would be. I think he's ready to make that jump now. He went from Western to
Yeah.
Minnesota. I think he's ready to go up a tier, and I think that next tier would be Penn State. That next tier would have been a Penn State, a Michigan State. You're not. I don't know if he's quite like Ohio State tier, or, Bama, Georgia, anything like that tier yet, but he's at that next tier below. I think I'm not going to rule that out completely. I feel like nobody else is really even teasing that idea, which is weird to
Yeah,
me.
it's kind of strange because he was the glory boy, right? Like when with Western Michigan, he had him in a
Yeah,
BCS bowl game, not the BCS champion, but a BCS bowl game. One
yeah,
of the
against Wisconsin, against a Big
you know
Ten team, and they almost won.
yeah, in they were unbeaten that year and everything else, and so he was like the glory boy. He went to Minnesota, and it's like again, it's like we talk about Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern. Now Northwestern, you have the academic standards that you don't,
Hmm.
you don't have to deal with in other places. But I mean, as far as resources and the facilities are better than they were at Northwestern. Obviously, Western spend a lot of money to improve and all that other kind of stuff, but Minnesota's kind of that situation where you're almost capped out, right? Like, I think PJ Fleck is like, okay, we're going to be an 8-9 win team every single year. Like that, that's what you can do
Yeah,
with Minnesota, right? Although people said that about Indiana too, and look at what Signetti did. So
that's true.
I mean, I don't know, but I do think that if you give a guy like PJ Fleck, a shot at it at Penn State, then I think that he would be able to really, really do well there. Now, would he do better than James Franklin? I don't know.
I feel like maybe they get into kind of the same territory there. Maybe they kind of get into like
Right.
a 10-win team, losing to Ohio State every year, probably losing to Michigan or Michigan State, or if Michigan State gets good now. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what goes on here because also think I mean, and while we're on the topic of coaches, you get the NFL that's going to have a lot of openings too coming up soon too. I mean, look at something like we talk about the Lions all the time. I mean, we're going to be in looks for probably an offensive coordinator after this season. who's to say we don't go grab somebody that was, in the same? I feel like we probably, I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't know. Like when we lost Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, we promoted from within. I don't think that's we're gonna do that again.
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
I think
there was
Calvin Shepard's
talks.
fine. I think Calvin Shepard's fine on defense, but I
Yeah.
think, but do you if you're Lions, right, do you go out, do you want to try and stay more pro, right? Or do you go grab like a head coach somewhere in college and be like, look, call some play. I mean,
I think that well, you know who my guy is.
yeah, you want Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, I want him to be fired from Miami, and I think he's like an offensive version of like Matt
Matt
Patricia,
Patricia. Yeah.
right? Like he's not a head coach. That trying to do all of it is too much. But if you focus on the one thing and the one thing that you're really good at, then I think that's that. So I that's who I would like to see. I know that there's also conversations too about going and bringing back JT Barrett.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
would be cool.
which you got a guy who did a great job when he was on the staff and everything else, and he might be ready to make that next jump. Those kinds of things. So, but yeah, I mean, the Lions are. Boy, we're going to be sweating it out to see if we can make the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Even if we win out 12-5, that's going to be tough. Like,
Mhm.
think about it. You got to go 12-5 to sniff the playoffs now.
Well, when you got the Seahawks playing as well as they are right now, the Niners are going to creep back out there. So you've got that division because the Rams right now are looking like they're going to run away with it. Well, actually, not really. I mean, Seahawks are catching up to them now, but so you've got those three in that division that are pretty much going to duke it out there. One of them's for sure going to be. I'd probably say two of them are for sure going to be in. I think our best bet for the Lions right now is we need somehow for the Packers to run away with the division, and we need the Bears to just start losing and dropping like flies. Like I think that's our best way because we already have one win against them. If we can, win at the end of the season, there have the tiebreak against them, even if it's close, and let Green Bay take the division because we're not going to win the division unless Green Bay loses out. Like, and that's just not going to happen. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
right
we're like
now,
3 games behind Green Bay
yeah,
now
yeah,
because of the tie and
Thanksgiving,
having lost both games to them.
yeah.
So
But then
and
you've
with
got
5 games left, right?
You've got Washington Giants are already going to be out of it. So now you're down to Eagles Cowboys. That leaves two teams left there. Right now, I was thinking they were just going to take the Eagles, but right now the Cowboys are playing some good ball right now. We got to beat them coming up this Thursday. That's a huge game for us there. So things are looking tough in the NFC. Um,
Yeah.
if some of these other teams can fall off, you might just end up taking all three from the North, Lions, Bears, and Packers. If the Niners fall off and the Cowboys fall off, something like that can happen, right? I feel like that would probably be your best bet. But like you said, you have to win out just to even have a shot at this point. I don't even maybe you can
Yeah.
afford to lose one down the stretch, maybe, but it has to be like to an AFC team. It can't be anybody that can give you a tie break, and it can't be anybody in the division. So if you are gonna take another loss, it's got to be somebody in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that you it's crazy. You put yourself in that type of position, and how much confidence do you have, right? Like you've got the Cowboys, who again, like we said, they're playing well and everything else. And then you still got the Rams, and then that game against the Bears is at Chicago,
Hmm.
last game of the year, so it's going to be nasty. Um, Yeah, it's.
And you
I mean,
can't
those
forget
are
about
three
the
tough games
Panthers.
right there. Huh?
The Panthers are winning now. The Panthers
Right.
have 7 wins on a year, and they're in a awful division with the
And what's
Bucks and
and
the
what's the
Saints.
fifth game? Who's the fifth game?
I think that's our AFC against the Steelers.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, well,
So we got
probably
we
probably
probably
your
will
easy,
drop that one with Aaron Rodgers though.
probably your easiest game is the one that you could afford to lose,
Yeah, the Steelers at
so
home.
that's not a good situation to be in.
No.
And it's the Steelers and it's Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers sees Lions uniforms and turns into like
Greatest there ever
Thanos,
was.
and
Yeah.
pulls like the stone from Dan Marino and Joe Montana and Tom Brady and all of them, and that's how he looks against us. It's unbelievable. But yeah, so that's tough. That's a tough
That
go.
is tough. And then speaking of a tough go though, you look at the AFC playoff picture right now. The Chiefs are in a bad way. Chiefs are not in a good spot there. I mean, you've got Chargers and Broncos in front of that division right now. I think the Chargers are going to fall off at some point. You know, Broncos are going to end up running away with that division. The Texans are kind of, they're creeping up on the Colts a little bit. The Colts dropped two in a row, and one of them being to the Texans. So now the Texans are creeping up there, and
And
Jacksonville, you can't.
Jacksonville's
Yeah,
winning that division now.
yeah, and you can't slouch on Jacksonville. They came out of nowhere. It's that Liam Cohen effect right there. Duval.
Duval.
He's doing he's doing a great job there in the AFC, and then the AFC North is just god awful right now. I mean, between the Steelers and the Ravens both being under 500 right now, or the Steelers just got, I think they're what, 6-6 now. Ravens are 5-7 or 5-6 or something like that. I mean, it's
Cincinnati still has a chance to win the division. I
well,
mean,
now
Joe
that Joe
Burrow's
Burrow's
back.
back, he could win out with them. He's done it before. I mean, he's done it before, and it came down to the last game of the year. It came down to a tiebreak in the last game of the year. I mean, so the AFC is just, yeah, I mean, it's all over the board right now. And then Buffalo, you think, well, surely Buffalo's taking that division. And then Drake May and the Patriots come out, and they're like, well, guess what? We're going to be like the Brady era Patriots again,
They
and
look unbeatable.
unbeatable right now. So it's like, this year, if like and I think I said this last week on the episode, if you put a gun to my head and said, "Tell me who's going to be in the Super Bowl right now," I'd say pull trigger because I can't tell you. I have
Well,
no idea.
I mean, if someone put a gun in my head and said, "Tell me who's going to be in the Super Bowl right now," I'd tell them because I wouldn't want to get shot. I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd be right, but I
Well,
would
that's
tell
the whole
them.
point. Like you gotta be right. But I
Well, how are you supposed to know then? Like he's going to hold the gun to your head
yeah,
from
but if you had like
now
what's the
until
what are
the
the
Super
best
Bowl?
odds? Like what are the best odds? I mean, I guess I would probably say Patriots, Patriots or Broncos coming out of the AFC, maybe right now. How cool would that be? Patriots Broncos AFC Championship for old time's sake. Brady Manning, that'd be kind of cool. Or even Colts Brady Manning. But so right now I'm looking at Broncos Patriots are my top two in the AFC, and then in the
But the
NFC, I
Colts,
don't.
but the
Right now it's
Colts,
so
Daniel Jones is hurt.
I know, so they're probably going to fall off. And then the NFC, it's tough for me right now, but I would have to probably say Rams Bears are your top two right now. But even Seattle's like I think they're tied. The record is tied with the Rams, but the Rams have the tiebreak.
Mhm.
So I mean, don't sleep on Seattle coming out of nowhere either. So I
And
mean, this
Darnold had a
is
great year last year. He's having another
yeah.
great year this year.
So this is going to be a very interesting finish here. But the one thing I will say, it is looking cool that we're finally seeing no Niners, no Eagles, no Chiefs. We're finally getting rid of flushing out that era of those three teams just constantly looping around for the
Yeah,
last 5 years. So I think that's kind of cool to
yeah.
to see something like that change.
And you speak about Sam Darnold, right? And I think that we have a little bit of vindication on our comments on the JJ McCarthy
Hmm.
experiment. I think that exactly what we said kind of panned out, and we took a beating in the comments section
Hmm.
for it because how dare we say anything bad about JJ? But look, I mean, I think what is he ranked 851st out of 852 quarterbacks since 2000. The only one worse than him is Jamarcus Russell, and I don't know exactly how the QBR stuff and all that stuff goes because Jamarcus Russell actually has thrown for more yards, more touchdowns, and all of that than JJ has. So
Yeah,
it's yeah,
and it's
and
so
then
bad to the
now he's
point you
hurt
had.
again.
Yeah, you have Max Brosmer is your backup. Like, where? Who even is that guy? Like, no
You got it.
disrespect. I mean, no disrespect, but who is the guy? Who
I
is he?
think he
You're
sold me
telling me
insurance a couple weeks ago.
probably he might could have. I mean, how about
Um,
that play? He looked like Will Levis on that play there, just heaving it up, the pick six. I mean, that's brutal, man. That's brutal. If I'm the Vikings, I do whatever. I go out. I mean, look at the free agency, right? If I'm the Vikings, I go after Joe Flacco at this point. Now that Burrow's back,
right?
you know what
Why
I
not?
mean? Like at this point, I go do anything I can to avoid having to do JJ and Brosmer because they're about the same player.
Yeah, and I mean, and then there was the rumors and stuff going on about that they shut him down with an injury because they were like he's not ready, and they're
Yeah.
like he's got to be injured, and then they were like we're just going to keep running Carson Wentz out there, and
And
we
Wentz
want
was already
Carson
hurt
Wentz to
too.
to to play the rest of the year, except they almost killed him. Like he's got all kinds of injuries all over the place. The torn muscles, the broken
Hmm.
ribs, the dislocated shoulder, the what I mean, they were like keep duct taping this dude up
Yeah, they're
because
like,
he's
we
got
just
to
need him
get us
out
to the
there.
end of the year because we do not want to play JJ. And and he couldn't do it. So now they're on the Max Brosmer experiment and yep, that
It's
one's
rough. It's just it's real. It's really rough there if you're in Minnesota. But I mean, their season's over. So, but it's going to be interesting here to see how college plays out. It's going to be interesting to see how NFL plays out. Going to have a lot of shakeups going on, a lot of new faces, I think. Um, really in both. I mean, aside from your top dogs, which in college, your top dogs in college, but in the NFL, you're going to see a lot of new faces, maybe some old faces that you kind of missed being in the spotlight. I think that'll be cool. But yeah, it's gonna be fun down the stretch here for both NFL and college when you get to playoffs here because it seems like right now what the playoff picture looks like right now for the NFL could look completely different as we've seen
yeah.
so far this season, right? So it's going to be interesting. I mean, my question to you though is how long do the Bears keep this up? Are they really for reals or are they just kind of riding some sort of high right now?
Are they what are they what the Lions were 2 years ago?
See, that's where I was kind of getting at. Are they the team that's going to go to the NFC Championship and just miss it?
Boy, that one like it feels
I
like
think
it's
that
just
was our
that's getting further and further away from us, right? Like
like Dan Campbell said that might have been our only shot, and right now it's looking like it.
well, and that's the thing too. Like I remember, like you weren't born yet, but I remember in '91 when we went to the NFC Championship game and got throttled by Washington. We were like, okay, well, we'll be back, we'll be back, we'll be back, and didn't come close. Didn't hadn't won a playoff game um, until Jared Goff did just a little bit ago. But
But
it
you
is
you
it's
were saying
crazy.
though, but I remember after we lost that game to San Francisco, I was asking you like, how is this how it felt in '91? But you said it felt different in that moment because you're like, this team and this culture is a lot different. Then we went 15 and
It
2 and we're like, okay, maybe you're right. And then we lose in the first game. I mean, and now this year is just a complete stinker. What's
yeah.
going on here? Is it? I mean, I'm not listen, I feel like I don't want to start to sound like typical Detroiter. I don't want to start to sound like, same old Lions, but who's to blame right now? Is it injuries? Is it maybe is something does something need to happen between Campbell and Holmes? Is that experiment like is it running low? Are we looking at maybe like maybe they weren't what we thought? I mean, what type of I mean, I guess where are we looking at right now with the Lions? Like what direction are we looking at? Who are we kind of throwing the blame on a little bit? What do you think needs to be cleaned out and cleaned up? Because
Yeah, it's tough, but I mean, the reason why I said that about that NFC Championship game because we had that game won in Los the
Mhm.
one in '91 we got throttled right out of the gate, but I'll say again I Brad Holmes had done such a good job. It's hard to sit there and now turn around and say, oh well, I'm going to blame him or whatever. Like, I think that when we were doing well, we were giving him way too much credit. And now that we're struggling, I think we're going to give him too much blame. But I think that what happened was that we're in a situation to where we were hitting on everything. Everybody we were bringing in was playing out of their minds and we were playing together and we were playing great. And then you had injuries start happening. And then when the injuries start happening, you start seeing okay, well, we don't really have a lot of depth. Like we're pulling guys from practice. I mean, we say this all the time, and when I'm texting, like John and other dudes and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't know who these guys are. Like we had George Lopez playing for us the other day. I
On
mean, I
Thanksgiving,
thought
yeah,
I thought he had a TV show. I mean,
yeah,
so I think that could be an issue, but it's hard too, right? Like you're not going to have three deep in every single position.
right.
But I do think that okay, you need to be prepared because you're going to have contracts start coming up.
Hmm.
And you talk about it like Anzalone. What are you going to do with Anzalone? What are you going to do with Khalif Raymond? What are you going to do, Pascal and these dudes that have been hurt and stuff like that? Like, they're going into free agency, so you're going to see a lot of turnover. Who are you going to replace these guys with? We're not getting the top draft picks that Brad Holmes had the luxury of having at the beginning. Now we're getting number 30 and low first round, high second round picks that we're having to make hit. So that's where it's like, okay, well, now let's see. Throw into the mix that we lost both coordinators also. You know what I mean? And now we're sitting here in a situation to where at first we were like, oh, okay, well, we're fine without Ben Johnson because John Morton, and then now Dan Campbell took over play calling duties, and they had the one game where he scored a ton of points, but then now it's been struggling again, and now we haven't been making fourth downs like we used to make, and all these kinds of things because all right, well, what are we doing? So again, like we talk about, like we need some, who are we going to bring in for an offensive coordinator? And it's gonna have to be somebody. I think Kelvin Shepard has done a great job again dealing with a lot of injuries, but how do we? I mean, maybe the biggest, the first change that we need to make is our strength and conditioning coach. Who
Yeah,
is that?
maybe.
Like,
Right,
yeah,
because why is everybody hurt every single game? I
right.
don't understand. I mean, we don't go a single game without somebody almost dying on the field. Now Terry and Arnold's out for the year, so you're dealing with that now. And Kirby Joseph, posted a thing on his Instagram the other day, and he said, "God help me," because apparently he received some news that he's never going to be 100% ever again. That
Yeah,
like it's just going to be a reoccurring thing, and every time he goes out there, he can't give it his all because it's going to get hurt again. So that now limits his snaps. I mean, so it's one of these things, and it's
and Dion Branch is getting a reputation. So it's
Deion
like,
Branch.
I mean, Brian Branch. Man, I do that every time. And
Well,
Brian
Deion
Branch is getting
Sanders,
a
Brian Branch,
reputation.
they're yeah. It's
So
just
it's like,
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know what to say or do about the Lions right now. I really don't have an answer for you. At least after losing to San Francisco and even after losing last year to Washington, I was like, well, you know what? Look, we just had two phenomenal years. Like that game, we kind of came in and I don't know, maybe we were overzealous or what. I'm like, next year is going to be another good year. We're
We'll
going to
just get
grind it out
healthy.
and
That was the
yeah,
big
I'm
thing after Washington. It was like we just
get
we just need
healthy.
to get
Yeah.
healthy, and we'll be back. But I mean, we're 7-5, but the five losses have looked bad.
Right.
The seven wins have looked really good. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Well, the Giants win didn't look good, but
okay, so six of the seven.
I mean, I don't know, man. But
So
yeah, and
we
then
split it right down the middle. Half the games we've looked great, half the games we looked awful.
it's not a
So
good
what
spot to
are
be in
we?
at this stage in the season. Right. Yeah. What are we? I mean, that's the question there. And then St. Brown went down too, and he didn't practice today. So it's like, man, and now I mean, you're right. It's just injuries, injuries, injuries. And it's like, I'm sick for you. Here's the thing though, injuries, injuries, injuries all day long. Right. I'm done. I'm done sitting here being like, well, if only we were healthy. Like, I'm, look at me. I'm so mad. I'm throwing my vape around. Like, but again, seriously, I'm sick of being like, well, if only this, if only that. I've been saying that my whole life. If only this, or if only we would have done this, or if only so and so would have. I'm sick of that, man. Like, when can I just sit back and watch us win? Because like even last year, I'm holding my breath the whole season. We went 15-2, and then we got embarrassed to Washington, who sucks, by the way. They did nothing off of that. They got blown out to Philly, and now this season's a stinker. Yeah, Jaden Daniels is hurt, but still, I mean, that turned out to be pointless. We thought now Washington's going to be on the rise. That's going to be another new heavyweight in the NFC. Well, it turned out no, they suck, and they're going to be garbage forever, and it's
Well,
going to
they
be the
had a
Eagles
lot of
division for the
injuries
next
too. I
100
mean,
years.
McLaurin was out for half the year. Debo Samuel, and Jaden Daniels. I don't even know what goes on their defense and stuff like that. So again, that's a kind of thing. Like, and so what are we doing? What are we doing? And why is everybody always hurt in the NFL? It's unbelievable because we don't get to see what we want to see half the time because these games everybody's hurt and but I don't know. I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know which way you go. I think number one, let's start with the strength and conditioning coach, whoever that is. I think that you need to go. And I think we need to bring in Jillian Michaels or whatever from Biggest Loser and stuff
Yeah,
like that, and like whip some of these dudes into shape, um, and get them on board. But yeah, I don't know. And then here's the other part of it too that we're not even talking about. We talk about the injuries, we talk about the coaching, and we talk about all this other kind of stuff, right? And not having depth. What's the more glaring problem out of all of that is golf. I mean,
Goff is
we
starting to,
know
like you
now
said,
that we have to be perfect up front for golf to be good.
it's like clockwork, man. It's like this is exactly what happened in LA. You had those great seasons, took him to a Super Bowl and all this, and this is why McVay moved on. And now we're starting to see the rotation. He got a new setting, new face, started out great. Now we're starting to see that same it's I mean, it's a cycle, right? And I
Mhm.
thought that he had just, maybe he was just I don't know. I don't know what it was in LA, what he was going through or something. I thought, yeah, that, that's old Goff and it became a storyline like, oh, they sent me here to die and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, well, now we're going to get into another situation where we're going to end up trading Goff. It could be like clockwork. What's going to happen? What are we going to trade Goff to, somewhere and snag a quarterback that's got like, 4 or 5 years left on him, and then Goff's going to go somewhere to die and whatever. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't want that to be the case. I do like Jared Goff. I do. He won us our first playoff game in my lifetime. Like, but something's not right, right? And he's looking like the golf that the Rams gave up on, and I don't want that to be the case because I don't want that to happen to him twice in his career. But I mean, he's got to figure it out. I know he doesn't get a lot of help up front. He snaps the ball and he's immediately running for his life, and I get that. But at the same time, some of these decisions he's making, and I hate to still do this, I really thought I was done doing this, but some of the decisions he's making, Stafford would have never made in the same situation. And Stafford was in the same situation.
Mhm.
So it's a tough go. And I really, like I said, we at least before with the Lions, right? We can sit there and be like, well, this is why. And yes, we're talking injuries, coaching, player, but I genuinely like I really don't know where it came from and why it's happening and how it's happening and like what I don't even know where to begin to fix it, right? Like I don't even know where to start. Well, you say get the guys healthy. Well, we said that last year, you know. Well, is it coaching? Is it what I mean? I don't know. It's been coaching for as long as I've been alive, so it's like I don't know.
Right.
I really don't know. I don't know what goes on. Maybe the Peyton Manning, Bobby Lane curse reversal didn't actually work. Who knows? I mean, I'm just glad I got my Buckeyes right now. All right, it's a silver lining.
Well, the Pistons are back on track, so that's
Yeah,
like one of
lost
the
two,
good
but then
things.
came back out, won two more.
Yeah, yeah,
They are
that was
eliminated from the NBA Cup though.
yeah. But yeah, it'll be. I mean, this is look at we're all football all the time right now. I mean, like yeah, it's fun watching the Pistons and stuff like that. And the Red Wings are kind of like doing their 500 thing
Yeah,
right
they
now.
do
But
until they lose
I mean,
out.
hockey. Look, call me in February, March. Because when it gets really interesting and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Um,
Yeah.
so the one good thing was where you got to come up
hmm
and we got to go to the McSwiggins.
We did get to go to the good old McSwiggins. Love McSwiggins out there in Perrysburg, Ohio. If you're ever, which I don't know why you would be, but if you're ever in Perrysburg, Ohio, you gotta check out the McSwiggins. I mean, it is the greatest place that there ever was. How about that the karaoke night that just turned into a DJ set?
So
Dude,
okay, so
dude's like
here let
walking
me ask
around
you.
like
So let me ask you this, right? Like the karaoke at a small like so the McSwiggins is a small
yeah.
bar.
It's
Um,
probably smaller than the basement.
there's no kitchen, not even a fryer. They have a popcorn machine.
That's it.
That's what you get. And it depends on if the person wants to do. Sometimes you could just go and start making the popcorn
Right.
yourself if you want.
Right. Yeah.
But so it's a small bar, and they had like they took like half the bar is taken up by a pool table, and then the other half of the bar was taken up by the karaoke dude.
So you
So
have
and it was
yeah.
like the dude was dressed up like the Blues Brothers,
He
and
sang two
he was
songs.
saying two songs, and then it was like me, you, and Chris were me and Pedro were the only ones in there,
Yeah,
and
there's
it's like
four of
we were
us in
playing
there.
pool and we weren't gonna sing, so then it was like Okay,
So then
this
dude takes off his suit, he takes off his garb and just goes sits down at the bar and starts hammering the Budweiser. He's like, "Well, I guess I'm just gonna get drunk
yeah.
now." So then the other guy who was there with him, who was like running the computer stuff, he just starts DJing. Just
Yeah.
starts DJing. He's making his rounds. He keeps walking. Do you guys want to hear any songs? You guys, is there anything you guys want to hear?
We're like, no,
You
stop,
asked
so
me
we
this.
can play the touch tunes.
Yeah, right. Because like I have all these free Touch Tunes credits
Yeah.
from when I used to work in the bars. I still get the thing. So I add what is it, 25 credits to my account every Thursday. I'm at like 200 credits. I'm ready to run through and just get it go. Like, let me DJ, dudes. You're cool and all, but
So let me ask you that question though, right? Like, is the touch tunes better than the DJ?
in a lot of cases, yes. I think the setting is important. I think if you're in your dive bar, sports bar, touch tunes, absolutely. If you're in more of like a game day type bar, like if you're in downtown Detroit, right, and you're at a bar before the game, I think a DJ is a little bit better off in that type of aspect of things because he can read a room and he can keep it flowing. Whereas if you give the touch tunes open, you're going to hear Billy Currington, Travis Scott, the Beatles, and it's just going to go all over the board. And
Yeah.
there's not going to be any flow. Whereas
Yeah.
if the DJ can start to kind of read his crowd, he can
Creates a
see who's
vibe.
he can create a exactly. So I think
Yeah.
in cases like that, like when you're in a downtown area and there's like a game or something like that, I think a DJ's and obviously, I don't go to these, but clubs, right? Like if you're in like, nightclubs and things like that, I think
Yeah.
DJs
I
are a
mean,
lot
that's
more
because you're there to dance. You're not there
right,
for anything else. You're
right.
there to
But
dance and
if
you need the DJ for that. Right. Like,
exactly, yeah.
but like a bar.
Yeah, you need your touch tunes there.
Yeah, so I do because and the other thing too is like well number one like they always have the music too loud
Yes, and
like
especially
even with
like
the
at Miss Wiggins.
karaoke
Yeah,
like
it
you
was.
weren't going to hear the voice of the person because the music was too loud.
And that's my thing. Yes, okay, in most cases, yes, you do need it to be loud because usually you're in a busy area, right? But
Right.
when you're there and you're looking at all three people that are there, I mean, why is it on the loudest setting possible? That's what I'll never understand
Yeah, like we
because
like
we couldn't even talk over each other, and we're the only
oh
ones
I
in
had
there.
no shot. I had no shot in
Yeah,
there.
because
I
you're
mean, you
already
know me
half
with my
deaf.
bad ears.
Yeah,
I had no shot.
yeah. So that's the part that I don't understand. But yeah, I think you definitely, it depends on the setting, but most cases I think you go with touch tunes. And then if you got your guy Tommy Dukes in there, you get the best of both worlds because he's DJing on the touch tunes and he's DJing like reading a room and he's playing like all the good stuff. So every
See
now and again,
that's
now, but okay, so that leads to the next question.
mhm.
When you've got the group of people or the one guy that takes up the touch tune and like loads up 100 songs on there,
Mhm.
like there are some cases where that's good. Like when Tommy does it, I mean, he plays a little bit every. He's all over the board, but in a good way, right? Like he
Mhm.
flows. It's all songs that everybody knows, like all classic stuff like that. For a place like Johnny's, it's perfect, right? But every now and again, right, you get like the group of people that like take over the touch tunes, and like I'm not all right. This probably might come off the wrong way, right? But if you get like a group of Hispanics and they're playing all music in Spanish, well, I don't know what songs these are. Like, yeah, absolutely, play your music, whatever. But if you play 15 Spanish songs in a row and I can't get one of my songs in there and I have to be just stuck listening to songs that I can't even understand, like that gets annoying, right? Or you just get the drunk people that come in or like they just spam Taylor Swift and next thing you know there's 30
Yeah.
Taylor Swift songs in a row. Like that's obnoxious. Like
Or
I
hit like it's the CMA awards and clearly there's not a country vibe
right,
in the place.
right.
Yeah. I think that you got it. I think the bar has to have the ability to like boop, like, because I remember like so like back in the jukebox days, um the Oak Cafe I used to go to all the time, like the bartenders had the button that they could hit behind the bar to skip a
Mhm.
song. And so like if it got to the point to where like somebody played like, the whole thing of like the Pink Floyd, album,
Well,
like
and Pink
the
Floyd's got like
entirety of it,
37-minute long songs too.
right, then they would be like, all right, listen, like enough's enough here, like you can't do that. That's one of the dangers you run into with the touch tune. But if you have the ability to jump a song or to just kind of move on past, like, okay, like, if the bartenders, but see, the bartenders also, you got the situation with the TVs too, right? Like, so we always have an issue with the TVs at the
TVs. Yep.
McSwiggins. Like, we always end up with the remote in our hands
Right,
and
because
like
we'll
going
ask them to
around.
change one game, and usually sometimes they'll just change it, and then we ask for another one, and they're like, just take the remote. And now we're running the TVs, and then that goes back to day drink talking about the remote guy. We turn into the remote guy, and we don't get
Yeah.
free drink. We get free popcorn, which I guess it's not a horrible payoff.
But everybody gets free popcorn at the
That's true.
McSwiggins.
And
But
if it
what I'm
wasn't for our
saying,
guy Patrick, we wouldn't have had it
actually,
that night.
Patrick was good dude. Patrick
Good
was good
dude. He
dude.
was a
He came
Michigan
in.
fan too,
He's the one
believe
who
it or
got the
not.
popcorn going.
Believe it
Um,
or not, he was a Michigan fan, but
he was a
he was a
Michigan
really
fan. He
good
was a
dude.
good time. We had a great time with him. Yeah, he was just in there.
And there's
You
the
know,
bar banter
yeah.
that we
Well, that's what
talk
I'm
about.
saying. Like, you sit at the bar, like, that interaction's not going to happen outside of a bar,
Right.
right? And dude was drinking non-alcoholic beers
He
too. So
was.
like, he was just there just for the banter
Yeah,
and the
which is
popcorn.
also yeah,
The
and the popcorn.
popcorn.
You got it. I mean, come on, bar like popcorn machine popcorn at a bar like that is
It's so
fantastic.
good.
Yeah, but yeah, I
It's
mean,
But see, the thing is with the TV though, it's like they never know. Like, they're always like, "What channel is that on?" And it's like,
I know. And then you got to
but
tell them the
also
channel and all this other
the
kind of
other part
stuff.
too is they're the only one there.
That's also true. If you had other like other servers and bartenders, you could have and a manager, you could have somebody else do it. Like
They
some
could
places like
scroll and find
so
it or
okay, so
look it
like your
up or
B
whatever.
dubs, right? Like your B dubs and your places like that, they've got a manager. If you ask a bartender or a server to change a TV, they tell their manager and their manager is on it. Like you know what I mean? And most there's actually a lot of managers who like are always on it. There's a couple places where like the managers like lose sleep over like I was like that at Johnny's. Like I was losing sleep over what TVs are going to be on, and then
Yeah,
we had our manager Kevin on the other side who was the same way. But like some of the places, like they, dude, like they don't care. Like these people don't care at all. So, and then and like like at the McSwiggan, she's like, well, "What channel is that?" I'm like, "What do you have?" She's like, "DirecTV." I'm like, 219, and then she's like, "Oh, okay, cool, found it." Like that can get annoying too. But we talk about that all the time. Like, but you're right. When they're the only one there, it's tough because what are you gonna do, right? How are
yeah,
you
because
gonna
they don't want to
control?
sit there. You got people yelling at them because it
Mhm.
ended up getting busier as the night went on. There
As the
was
night went
another
on,
whole other
yeah,
group that came in and stuff like that. And then we're because then you rotate for the 7 o'clock games, then the 9 o'clock games, then like
yeah,
the late games, and you don't want to watch the Chive TV or
right,
the Roku home screen or whatever all night long. So um yeah,
right.
that's kind of a tough play because then because you don't want the bartender to have to be in charge of one making sure that all the TVs are on the right TV, also skipping songs on the touch tunes that shouldn't
Yes,
be skipped,
yes.
played over and over and over and over again, and then also being the only one in the bar. I mean,
It
that's a
is a
rough
tough
go.
go. It is a tough go. I mean, when we talk about what we will about the McSwiggins, right? About like, well, we might be the ones bartending tonight because it seems
Love
like
it.
there's always somebody different when we're there, right? I
I've
feel like
only
we've
seen
never
the
had a
one lady twice, and then
yeah,
everybody else it's one time, one and done.
one and done. And we always joke like, we might be working tonight. I don't know. We might, whoever gets there first opens the bar. But no, I mean, it's a tough. I mean, when you're the only one there, it is tough when you think about all that kind of stuff. Now I know the touch tunes machines do come with a remote, so like you can skip or whatever. At least any bar that I've worked at, it's been kind of frowned upon to do that because people are spending their money on the stuff, even if it's annoying. It's like, well, then people can come up and be like, "Hey, I paid money for that. Like, are you gonna give me my money back?" And we've had that happen before. Where at Johnny's, we've had people come up to the bar and be like, "You skipped my song." Well, it was a little bit different. We were closing, and it was 2 in the morning, so we shut it off. And he's like, "Well, I had two songs coming up. Can I get my money back?" And we're like, "Man, that's not like we're closed." He's like, "Well, how do I get my money back?" We're like, "Email Touch Tunes. That's not on us." And he
Yeah.
like wouldn't let it go. Like I'm like, "Dude, two songs on that thing is $3. Like, come on."
Yeah, it's like, and what are you doing? Like
Playing
paying,
songs at 1:58 in the morning. You
yeah.
know the place is about to close.
They're probably stupid songs anyway.
Yeah, they probably were dumb songs anyway. They're probably Taylor Swift or Beyonce anyway.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I think
we
that you should be able to, if a song's played twice, you should be able to skip it without an issue.
yeah,
And if you start to notice that it's three, four, five songs by the same artist and like they
Yeah.
just played the whole album. Like we're
Like
not here at a concert. Like we're
right.
not here doing a cover band or whatever.
Right.
Like it, let's
Like
go.
let's yeah, switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I
Like even
agree.
if it's somebody that I like, even like I don't want to like if I'm at a bar, like unless I'm listening to like a Jimmy Buffett cover band or a Grateful Dead cover band or whatever, like
Right.
they're specifically for that. I don't want to even if it's somebody I love, I don't want to hear five, six, seven, eight. I don't want to hear. I can do that in my car. I
Right.
probably did it in my car on the way there. So
But
now I'm
that's because you're
listening to
by yourself and you're like
right.
you could do whatever you want. But when you're at a bar like that, you gotta understand you're not the only person in there. So don't load up the Taylor Swift album on the touch tunes. Like nobody wants to sit here. You're telling me everybody in this bar does not want to sit here and listen to Taylor Swift all night long. I don't want to listen to one Taylor Swift song, yet alone the whole damn album, right? And even
No,
if it's an artist I like,
that's what I'm
because there's
saying.
like
Yeah.
even if it's an artist I like, I'm like, all right, come on. Like I'm at a bar. If I wanted to listen to this guy's album, I do like him, and I have listened to the album before. I'll do it at home. I'm not at a bar. I don't, like I want different vibes, different, I want it to be switched around. I mean, you go for the you go to bars for the social aspect of it. And if you're just, repetitive stuff over and over again can ruin that.
I can't tell you the last time I listened to a whole album of somebody like from start to finish. But I mean, it would have been back with the old cassette days because you just had to let it play. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
but once you could start doing CDs and skip and shuffle and all that kind of stuff, there was no listening to song 1 through 12 or whatever on a thing. And so if you get to a bar and the touch tunes is doing that, then you gotta jump in.
You
You can
do.
jump in and move on from that. Like you got to
Right.
have a little bit of a break. It's kind of like a DJ at a wedding, right? Like you can't be all the way up here
Hmm.
the whole time. You got to bring it in,
Yeah, you
do a
got to
little
reel it
slow
in.
dance, allow
Yep.
for some people to go to the bar, refill the drinks and stuff like that.
Yep.
Have the let the little, lovey-loveys get out there or whatever. But then you don't want too many of those because then everybody's ready to go home. So then you got to bring it back up. And that's kind of where you want the touch tunes to be at the same
Right.
time, right?
Yeah, I absolutely. And of course it's tough because you get your people that are hammered and they're like, I love this song. And then
Yeah.
it's like, then they just want to play whatever. Like, you know what I mean? They're not reading a room. When I decide I'm gonna throw something in the touch tunes, I like to read the room and kind of be like, all right, what were the last couple songs we were listening to? Like what type of vibe do we have around here?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll end up playing a song that I wasn't even thinking of. I'll just be like, oh, you know what? Boom. Like I didn't go on there being like, ooh, I really want to hear so and so. I'm like, well, let's see what we got. Like I want to contribute to the fun. Like, what do we got here? But like I said, you get your people that come in there and just like, I don't care. I'm a big, Travis Scott fan. I'm playing that right now. Like, no, like read the room. Let's see what we got going on here. You know. Now let me ask you this. This is something that's really annoying. McSwiggins does a decent job of this too. Have you ever been in a dive bar where the only source of audio is touch tunes if somebody is playing it? So if it's dead and nobody's playing it, it's just silent. They don't have like another button
Oh,
that they can shuffle something. They don't have another music source like at Miss Wiggins. If nobody's playing the touch tunes for like 5 minutes straight and there's nothing playing out of the touch tunes, they switch to the Pandora on the TV and they switch to the music that way. Like at Johnny's, after 5 p.m., the like radio thing that would play throughout the day shuts off because it encourages people to do it, but people
yeah.
wouldn't do it. And if it was a slower night, you would just sit there and you'd be stuck with no music unless people started playing stuff. Like that's annoying.
I have run into that, but it's been a really, really small bar. Most of the places have either the ability to put the TV audio or they have like their own way to be able to play the touch tunes. Like they have like their own like bar credits so that they can stew up. Did you just injure yourself?
I think I did. I just blew my shoulder out, scratching my back.
That's a tough go.
It's hurt. Like it's like kinking up and like it's like I could feel like I got like a knot in here now.
You better
Ooh,
not do that again.
make things.
See,
It's somehow making the situation worse. That's
oh,
brutal.
come
That's
on.
a bad one. I'm too young. This is something you should be doing.
Oh, I do.
This is a guy who needs help getting off the floor. He was cutting branches on the bottom of the Christmas tree and he needed two people to pull him up off the floor. It's a bad go.
I had um my my backpack was in the back seat of the car,
Yeah, that one will get you.
and I needed to grab it. So I reached. Now I will say this. Okay, so I
No,
got
that
the
one's
F
a
one
you.
fifty, and the back seat is
Yeah,
like way back there. Like, it's one of the biggest back seats
yeah.
that there is out of any vehicle, right? Like, to reach it, and so I was like trying to like reach it, and the pull that happened here, like, it was, I mean, I was like to have to pull over. I came close to calling 911. I wasn't sure if I was dying. I didn't know if it was a cardiac event. I didn't know if I ripped a kidney or what was going on it, but it was a rough go.
It's brutal.
And yeah, it was not a place I wanted to be for sure. So I know what you're talking about. Oh, and the scratching,
Yeah, when you
everybody makes fun of me when I say that every time. Like, and here's the other part of it too. Like, I got a bone to pick with you and everybody, because every time somebody says, "Hey, what do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Christmas? What do you want for this?" I say a back scratcher, because I'm too fat and too old to be able to scratch myself in certain spots. Wait, like, even like, I need it. I need the back scratcher.
right, because if you try and push it like I just did, because it was in the middle of my back and I went around and my shoulder's all jacked up
You
now. I'm
end
gonna
up
feel
like
that for the
Carson
rest of the
Wentz
night.
with the
I'm gonna
dislocation.
I'm gonna wake up and it's gonna be sore tomorrow morning. My shoulder
Yeah.
is because of that. Like this hurts right now. Like I'm really trying not to even
Kevin O'Connell would still put you in the game.
over JJ McCarthy. Yes, he
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
All I got to do is just spike it into the ground and we don't turn the ball over.
I saw a thing to where he would have a better QBR
Yeah,
if
if he just
he
spiked it.
did that for an entire game.
Mhm.
Just blocked it every single time.
Yeah, man. When you've never been able to actually read a defense on your own without knowing their playbook, it gets tough out there.
Yeah. It's tough sledding.
Yeah.
Tough sledding, as they
Well,
say.
as they say, speaking of
Yeah.
sledding, it's December now. Mariah Carey is ready to go. Christmas is
Hey,
coming up.
so what, real quick, before we catch it on the flippity flip. What you this is your first full winter back
Yeah.
in the Midwest. Now, you when you were in Orlando, you complained for, was it 4 years you were down there, 3 years you were
Three
down there?
years.
You complained about not being able to have a winter. I
I
I
I
want
missed the
everybody to know the first text that I got from you this morning. Just spent 2 hours scraping off my car, shoveling out of my car. So that was fun. And I'm like,
Okay, I missed the aesthetic part of it for Christmas. I missed the snow and the crisp air and like the aesthetic part of it around the holidays. But that part of first of all, wiping the snow off the car for what feels like an eternity, and then you're frozen, so then your hands are numb by the end of it, and then the car doesn't ever heat up fast enough. So then you get back into the car and it's still cold. Now you just got to sit there. Yeah, it's a rough go. And then the snow and the salt gets all over your pants and your shoes, and it's like, and then you get your skin gets all dry and your lips get chapped, and it's yeah. I didn't miss that part of it. I missed the aesthetic of the winter and the seasons and the holidays of that. And I'd even like to look out the window, like the snow looks cool, it looks pretty, like it's Christmas time. I feel good. I might curl up in a blanket and watch some Christmas Vacation later. Who knows? See, that's the type you can't do that in Orlando.
no, I get, so like, that's what I'm talking. So like, it's like the vacationy parts of it.
Yeah.
Like if you lived in, or like and you had the ability for like 2 weeks out of the winter to go vacation in the snow and then come back, that's kind of like the ideal of what you
Yeah.
want. Like, you don't want to have to function in it.
No.
That's
No,
the
it
part that
sucks.
sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like,
Ooh,
having to
there's the shoulder.
function in the snow, in the cold, is brutal. And yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. Um,
No, that
but
part sucks.
yeah, doing the shoveling,
Just shoveling. Just shoveling.
out there shoveling
All
today.
for it to just snow and get covered in 2 hours.
Yeah, Well, and that's the other part too. It's like you never can pick the right time, or it never snows at the right time that's
Yeah.
convenient for you.
Yeah.
Because like you either have to get up at 4:30 in the morning to shovel it so that you're not driving on it and everybody's traipsing on it. Because if you don't do it then you're gonna have to leave for work, and then you got all the delivery people and everything else and all that other kind of stuff, and then you're driving on it, and then good luck being able to
Yeah.
shovel it off, because
Right.
then it's iced frozen tire tracks
Yeah.
and foot tracks on your thing. and
Yeah.
and and if you do it before you go to bed, it snows overnight, and
Night
then you just went out there for two hours for
for no
no
reason.
reason, because now you still either have to do it at 4:30 in the morning or end up with matted down ice chunks all over the place. So you can never win with it.
No, you can't.
You
It
can't
just
ever,
it
ever,
sucks.
never a good time.
It's never, no. And so that's the part of it that I didn't miss. And I haven't experienced that in 3 years. So having that today, and even when I was leaving your place on Sunday morning, me and Chris had to wipe our cars down for a minute. And I was like, yeah, definitely didn't miss this part of it. But it does feel actually, it feels actually like Christmas again, though. I will say, like, it never felt like the last three Christmases. I just was just kind of like, oh yeah, it's Christmas. Like, it didn't feel like it. Now I'm back. I feel it again. You got the candles lit. You got the heat going. That the nice calm ambient lighting. Like it feels like winter. It's dark at 2 p.m. That feels like winter. There are some aspects of that I missed, but what I went through this morning, I
Vacation
definitely did not miss.
into the snow.
Yes, yes,
You do a weekend vacation into the snow. You set a fire. You watch it. You get the ambiance and everything else. And then when it's time to function and like a human being, an adult,
it
again,
sucks. No, I don't
don't
want any
want
part
it.
of it. Well, but yeah, so
Yeah.
December now, Christmas is coming up. It's the holiday. It's the best time of the year, um, for that in that regard. But yeah, we it's a wrap on this one. We've got all the conference championship games this weekend. We've got Lions on Thursday. Um, so let's see what goes on there, and that's it. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. Catch you on the flippity flip.